Welcome back, thanks for tuning in. A little over a year ago, I built this toolbox organizer. I built it to replace a cheap dollar store one I had, and in that time I have used and abused it. You can see there's a few nicks out of it here and there. It has served me well. It was quite handy, and it didn't have any real issues besides this. Periodically some grit would get in there and it would have a little bit of difficulty closing it. And because I had a tendency to overpack my toolbox and have to jam the lid on, you can also see that there's a nice crack down the side. So long story short, it's time to replace it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace, well, actually I'm going to build two of these. And the purpose is to replace it so I can also use it as a drawer organizer. That's why I'm showing you the drawer organizer I have here. It's going to be of slightly different wood though. A very good friend of mine gave me a bunch of this. This is some poplar that he had put together for a project that ended up getting canceled. Thank you very much, Claude. I'm very appreciative. A lot of the stuff that you've given me has definitely kept this, all my projects going and given me the chance to build all this stuff. So I very, very much appreciate that. So this needs to be trimmed down a little bit. One other thing that Claude did for me is he took these pieces and ran them through his planer, which is something I actually can't ever have one because my shop A is small and B, I don't think my neighbors would appreciate the noise. So it was very kind of him to do that. So they're all the same thickness. All I need to do is strip it down because these are, I think, about 4 boards joined together. And I want to not have any particular joints at well, near an edge, that sort of stuff, in case one of the rabbits will cause some issues with that. So I am going to trim them down to size, and then I'm going to also at the same time set it all up so they're all the same size. That's why I'm using this. I actually really like this. This is a build I did quite some time ago. It guarantees that when I strip a board that's relatively narrow, that they're going to be all the same thickness, or sorry, width. And as long as I could do this part here and do this, it makes sure that it is all nice and square. And like I said, it makes things a lot simpler. And of course, in the end, I don't have to worry about planing anything to make sure they fit all at the same height, which is what it'll be once these are all on edge. So yeah, I'm going to trim these all up, and then what I'm going to do is they're all going to be held together with rabbets. These are planed to 3/8, so it's a little bit thicker. I was kind of on the fence about whether or not to use it as rabbets or to use it with dowels, and the rabbets won out because it's only 3/8. The dowels I use are 1/4 inch. There wouldn't be enough material. And I was, I don't want anything to break. I want this to last. That's the whole point. Now, nothing was really wrong, I suppose, with the acrylic one, but I think this will be a little bit more durable. And also, I find that this is actually really useful. This is another build I did some time ago. It definitely prevents any kind of, well, because I'm cutting, this is a fairly thick strip, but some of the strips I cut are a lot thinner than this, and it prevents anything from flexing upwards and having any issues that way, because that long arm holds everything in place, and I don't have to have any concern about that. And as you can see, it cuts nicely and it keeps everything, like I said, in place. And also, because it can be set just off to the side as it is here, I just have to lift it up and slide it over. It's very convenient. And as you can see by the number of saw blade cuts on the underside of it over there, it gets a lot of use. And actually you see here too, when I'm cutting a narrower piece like this, all I have to do is put another small piece on the other side just to keep it from shifting. Now I'm talking about shifting, rocking back and forth. And there you go. So I'm done. I've now trimmed them all so that we don't have any joints that are, well, any glue joints, so this will add it to its security. So all that's left now is to trim them to size. And as I said, because most of the time in building these projects, it is the time it takes to set the saw blades up and make sure everything is accurate and where it needs to be. And because of that, it is just as easy to make 2 of these as it is to make 1. And you can probably extend that to about 3. After that, it does tend to get a little bit more lengthy. So what I'm going to do here is set this up, and I'm going to cut, instead of just 2 for each, I'm going to cut 4 for each and make sure they're all fitting properly. And there you go. That's as simple as that. This way also allows me to trim off some of the, well, they're not, I mean, these were boards that were supposed to be used in a project but didn't. So they're not all in the best of shape all the way along, so it allows me to trim off the less than pleasant sides. And it's the first time I've actually worked with poplar. It's very light, which is going to be very beneficial for going into a toolbox, which is already way too heavy. And yeah, just something that I'm looking forward to seeing how well it works as far as longevity. What I'm going to do here now is route out the groove where the lid's going to fit through. The four that you saw there in the last picture, the last frame I should say, were slightly higher. Like obviously the front lip is going to be a little bit lower, and then the sides and back are going to be well, I think it's 3/8 a little higher. So I'm going to cut a 1/8 plus a small amount groove through this, and then that will allow the lid to slide in, and also, as you can see here, leave plenty of material so that I don't have any problems with this. Like I say, I'm not very gentle with my tools. And because when you're on a work project, I mean, you're doing a bunch of stuff and you have a lot of things you have to keep track of, and sometimes after you've been working all day, you just don't have the energy to be gentle with everything, maybe as gentle as I should be. And yeah, it needs to be robust. So there you go, that's the groove. I'm going to stick a piece of 1/8 inch acrylic, which is what the lid's going to be. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave on, you can see there's the film, and you can see it slides nicely. And once the film comes off, it'll be, well, very, very marginally thinner. And as you see, it slides nicely now. So it should slide very easily once that is all set up like that. So there you go. You can see a little bit of wiggle there. So those are the four sides. And what I'm going to do here now is put the rabbets on for joining them all together. This video is going to basically end up just setting up the entire shell. And what I'm going to do after in the next video is I'm going to put in the dividers. I was again on the fence a little bit for what I wanted to do for the dividers. I wasn't sure if I wanted to make it anywhere near as divided up as the last one was. It works fine, but I find sometimes, like especially when it's cold out and my fingers are cold and I'm trying to get small pieces out of it, I found that they're a little small, so I don't have tiny hands. So I think I'm going to end up making just a fewer number of dividers, enough to that I can divide up what I need, but not enough that I'm going to have to worry about trying to get into small spaces with my big fingers. So yeah, that's the plan anyway. The other thing is I can do is, because this should be large enough, I should also be able to put in some small containers. So I might make those up later on. Which reminds me, the toolbox is, well, it's fully done and everything, and I have a couple things I want to do for that. I do want to make some, well, not dividers so much as inserts, so that I can organize some of the more useful tools, ones that sometimes will get, you know, if you lay them down and get lost in the pile of stuff. So I want to have a section where I can stand them up, and I'm going to try that out and see how that works. So this is the vertical aspect for the rabbit, and all I'm doing here now is just trimming it. And this is one of the times when presetting and then doing a bunch of stuff together works out really well, because it took a little time to get this to the point where I was happy with it, so it fits nicely like that. And now that it is done, it's just a simple matter of running them all through. There you go. This is just taped together now, and this gives you an idea of the size, which is, I think, almost exactly the same as the old one. I was thinking of making it a little bit longer, but I do want it to fit comfortably into the wooden toolbox, and if I ended up making it too large, it's going to have to change from going in sideways to going in lengthways, and then that would just end up causing problems. Because, like I said, I want to make everything easily accessible. So this is now cutting the rabbet for the bottom. The bottom is going to be 1/4 inch Baltic birch. Another thing I actually got from Claude, which is, like I said, he gave me a whole pile of stuff, which really makes this so much simpler for me to do. One of the other things, as you saw there, very briefly, something I need to do long term, I think, is I might pick up a flat bottom cut blade. Now you can see there are some grooves there. Not an issue when it comes to actually gluing it up, because I find it just gives a place for the glue to go. But anyway, just a matter of cutting that and popping it inside. And as you can see, give it a second here, it just slides in nicely. And that's another thing about this. It all worked out really well. I'm very happy with that. I didn't have to recut too many things, which is nice. Sometimes when I get tired, you know, things don't exactly go according to plan. And there you go. That is the shell. So in the next video, I will be deciding where I want the dividers to go, cutting those, trimming the lid, sanding everything up nicely, and then of course putting some oil on this to protect it, because it gets exposed to the elements, that's for sure. Thank you very much for watching. Leave comments and let me know what you think. Oh, by the way, here's a glimpse of what it looks like when it's done. I forgot I put this on here. There's a few things I need to do, but anyway, this is the end bit. I've sanded it a little bit, but I haven't done any of the staining yet or anything. So there you go. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next video. Bye for now.